Hello there! Welcome to another Donger deck discussion, and this is a first one since patch 1.11 came out. So in our Dongers of Runeterra Discord, which is where all this lovely new content comes from, we have been discussing the absolutely barbaric Lee Sin Z deck with Bastion. Bastion is literally one of the very, very best cards that has ever been nerfed by Riot. I have no idea what they were thinking of when they did this, as it now grants +1/+1 and Spell Shield permanently for the same mana cost as just getting Spell Shield for the round. That is now easily the 3 mana spell in the game. It's the best one. It's just phenomenal. And it's only going to last 2 weeks. And the whole Lee Sin Z thing will be everywhere for 2 weeks. We'll be able to turn around at some point and go, ha, do you remember when? You know, do you remember when all this happened? And we're still getting new players all the time, which is fantastic for Riot. It's fantastic for the game. But, you know, people are going to go, oh, this deck's really broken. And we're all just going to look at each other and go, no, that was broken. So I have my version of Lee, Sin, and Z, but we're not going to talk about it because it's everywhere. You're going to see it everywhere. It is Bastions. It is some run Deny, some run Twin Disciplines, but they all run 3 Bastions. They run Mentors of the Stones. They can run Eye of the Dragon. They can run Claws of the Dragon. There's loads of ways to build it, and they're all horrible. And then if you put in your Zenith Blade, my suggestion is only run 2, because you're going to put it onto Lee or Z and just win the game. Just end of. So I have decided to do a different deck discussion today because Grandfather Rumul has been given more hugs. So initially he was grant a person, an ally, +4 health, which in this meta, with like Trundle Asol and War Mothers, the games are going to like past round 10. So if things are going past round 10 and we want to be running Grandfather Rumul, that means we are in Targon. And then we kind of go, okay, so what's good after round 10? Well, if you're playing Asol, you need something phenomenal to come out. So here is my Rumul Hugs Everybody deck, basing it around Leona and only Leona. And I'm using my 3 Rumuls, yes, 3 of them, as like my pseudo second champion. That costs 8. Now, there are not really too many champions that cost that amount of money. So if I actually come out of this and go into all regions, you know, Trindlemere and Aurelian Soul are the only 2 that cost 8 or more, which is a tad scary. But let's go back in here again. And I'm going to show you what I genuinely think is probably the best way to build a Rumul deck, because not all your units are going to be massively healthed up. Not everything's going to be leveled up. So to be able to put things in and make it good, I have decided to go with Demacia. And my Ender, well, you'll see it's the last card. That's the Ender. The Ender is not Rumul. Rumul will give 2 allies +4 health. And remember, he comes down with Overwhelm. He's an 8/4 unit, and he also has Spell Shield. That's an awful... You're paying a lot for him. He's 8. He should come down with a lot, which he does. But here's the deck. Initially, this deck wants to daybreak as much as possible, invoke as much as possible through the Priestess, the whole Solari package, get into the mid-game, then put out things like Radiant Guardian, use Bastion to keep your big attack units or the things that you think people will want to die off. So we have tons of good units. We have Leona herself, which, as I said, is our only champion. We have Radiant Guardians, we have Raven, we have Cythria, and we have quite a few other little things that Bastion is great with. So here it is. Here it is. Let's see it in all its now new glory. Bastion, burst spell, cannot be stopped. Grant an ally +1 power, +1 health, and spell shield. If you're running a Targon deck and you aren't running 3 of these, delete the game. Because you have no idea how absolutely busted. I wouldn't be surprised if this gets hot fixed within the next couple of days, because this is just too much. This is absolutely too much. It's now making Targon literally unbeatable. Targon decks are now literally the way to go. And so you can go for the Lee Sin Z, and it's all Targoned up because they want Mentor of the Stones and Bastion and everything else. This one is a bit more mid-rangey, on-curve kind of deck. So it plays it an awful lot more fair than Lee Sin, because Lee Sin with Overwhelm into a unit and gets 10 health, it does 20 damage and finishes the game. It's a one-turn kill. Once you've got that, unless they can Will of Ionia it, or whatever, if you've put Bastion on it, then you can't Vengeance it. You know, you're gonna. It's horrid. It's easily the best deck at the minute. Everybody's playing it. I'm taking a break from ranked for 2 weeks. I am not losing LP for that. No, thank you. So I'm going to start playing normals and invent a few decks and maybe even try and make a counter to this deck. And Rumul may be the counter, but he's probably too late. But against most other things, anything slow, like, as I say, the War Mother's deck, who wants at least 12 mana to bring forth their champions, any Troll deck, any Big Freljord deck, any Asol deck, yeah, we're in good shape. So here's the deck. 3 Solari Soldiers. You get +1, +1 if that's the first card you play. That's the only 1-drop we have. In the 2-drops, we have quite a lot. We have Solaris Shieldbreaker, which gets a +4, so it's like a Rumul Hog right there. That's awesome, but it's only for the round. But fantastic to defend with. Really good if you're attacking. Not going to die on round 2. And then we have Brightsteel Protector, which can protect the Solari Soldier because he goes back to being a 2-2 from a 3-2. That will keep that out. Block whatever's coming out. Your person stays alive. That's excellent. Pale Cascade is rapidly becoming my favourite spell in the game. And the reason for that, it's really quite simple. To be able to give, drop a unit down. I mean, it's not that good early doors. I mean, and it really, really isn't. But from like round 4, round 5, as we start to get into the mid-game, this is just fantastic. Because you'll probably drop a unit. Say, for instance, you dropped a Shield Bearer. Then you can Pale Cascade it. It's burst. It gets 2 extra power, 1 extra health. And because it's a Nightfall card, because it's not the first card you played in the round, you get to replace itself. So you're not down cards. And you might pull into something amazing, like a single combat, and then you can take out something else that maybe has a spell shield on it or whatever, because we are also running the best 3-drop spell in the game by a mile. Now, you want to be putting Bastion on everything that you know your opponent wants to take off the board as soon as possible. And because that's burst, that is fantastic. So the very, very first thing that they will try and do is pop the spell shield to try and get through it. But for instance, if you have a Leona, for instance, she is a 3/5. If you've Bastioned that, she's now a 4/6, which is what she becomes when she becomes leveled. It's very easy to level her up in this deck. And now, all of a sudden, if you've Bastioned her, she is a 5/7 without taking any damage. With Spell Shield. Horrific. Horrific. But she's not actually probably the best person to do it. Now, she is our only champion. But let's get back to the deck. So obviously we've got our Pale Cascades and our single combats, because, again, a Demacia deck it isn't running 3 of. I think you're running it wrong. It's just far too critical at key moments. Keep it for later games, and all that sort of stuff is fantastic. We are not running Rally. There's no Relentless Pursuit in this deck. We are a mid-range deck. We're not scouts. We don't want to throw things back out again. This isn't Lulu Shen. This is Rumul Leona. And for that reason, we're running one Hush. Now, in the patch, and let me put this to you nicely, for the next 2 weeks, we're going to have a Hush that costs 3, that then goes to 4, that then goes to 5. I'm only running one of them. I was running 2 when they cost 3 and replaced themselves. That's fine. Off you can go. The extra mana is making me still want to have it, but I am back down to my initial thoughts on the card, which is just run 1, keep it until you absolutely need it. Stop Ezreal doing all his silly mystic shotting. Stop Karma doing all her ridiculous double spell things to give massive palms and 2 extra units. Just stop it for the round. Because they're attacking, and no, absolutely not. So if both of them have leveled, just get them away. Solari Priestess is actually one of the key cards early. To get a Celestial card that costs 4, 5, or 6, so you can get, like, the Sisters, you can draw a champion, it costs 1 less and it's buffed up, which is fantastic. But I would probably be going for the Lifesteal Sisters normally. Get something as good as you can possibly get. An extra body on the board is always good in this deck because we're a Rumul deck, so we want to be as wide as is humanly possible. We are mainly on the Targon route, though, but as I say, we are running Brightsteel Protector. And then after our lovely Leona, who only needs to activate Daybreak 4 times. So we, in an ideal world, could do 1, 2, 3. Put her down on 4. She's now leveled. Then you can start Bastion these other things. But to make sure that she is fantastic, Morning Light is her spell if you draw a second Leona. That's where you give 2/2 to everything. It's a slow spell. And if it's the first card you do, you activate all allied Daybreaks at once. So if you've got all this out, the Shield Bearer becomes a 3/6. The other one the Soldier becomes a 3/3. You can activate and invoke something with the Solari Priestess. But as this gets much more expensive down the line, you're going to get another card from Raven and all that sort of stuff. So this is much better late game, especially when you're attacking and then you're stunning everything left, right, and center if Leona is on the board. You're getting multiples if there is a Raven down. So let us look at the Raven. Every single time that you Daybreak him, you get a non-champion Daybreak card in hand, as it's always day. 3 of those. And I'm still running 3 Radiant Guardians. The lifesteal and tough in this, I don't care that it's 4. It makes no difference to me. He is still a 5 tough unit. Wait until something dies. That's when you get your lifesteal and your tough. And all of a sudden he is replacing 4 health onto your Nexus every single time he strikes, which is Dabby-dozy. Like, that's just, hello. That is brilliant. It keeps you alive. She's a brilliant character. She needed the nerf. It was too big. It was too Demacia-centric. It was in every single Demacia deck going. Guess what, guys? Sorry, Rat. You would need to make this a 3/5 for it to not be worth anything, to be fair. They could have even made it a 5/4 and swapped these around. But it's the lifesteal that is the big thing, and the fact that it can still trade really well with dragons, which is kind of decent. Will die, but the dragon might also die, especially if you can do something like single combat it with something else, let it die, and then smash it with this. You get your 4 back and a dragon dead. I like all that. Awesome to put Bastion on. That is a brilliant card to put Bastion on. Just end of story. Phenomenal. But still not the best one to put Bastion on. Because the best one to put Bastion on is Cytherea the Bold. When you attack, everything gets 1/1 and fearsome this round. She doesn't. She's just a 6/6. Please put Bastion on this and go to town. You can drop this the turn before if you have a Bastion in hand. Drop it down. Take this out. Now she's a 7/7. Everything else is getting a +1 stat line across the board, and they all get fearsome. So if you're up against things like the Shen deck, the Lee Sin deck, a Teemo deck, a Fiora deck. Everything else is like just not really that big, you know. Nightfall decks. Yeah, Diana's got 2. Tarek has 2. You know, these things aren't coming out and defending because Fearsome just ruins it. And I'm also going to be making a new Elise all Fearsome deck, which has been intriguing me in the last couple of days of playing. Cytherea is amazing, and as I say, Bastion on her, or Raven, or Radiant Guardian, or Leona, you are flying. You are flying. I mean, this deck has performed so well since the patch dropped. And then we have the big boy himself. We'll show you his big card. Look at him. Come here, my love. And the wee doggy. Lovely. So, look, grandfather's back. So he says, you know, he's got his Overwhelm. He's an 8/4. He's also got a Spell Shield. So you don't ever put Spell Shield on him. But it's the grant 2 allies, +4 power. And now look at what we've got. A 5/5, a 6/6, a 4/5, a 3/5. So why don't you put it on, if you've got these guys out, that's now a 3/6. That's now a 3/6. That's a 2/5, 2/6, sorry. These things aren't dying. Rumul in this deck ensures that your units, the time that you put them down, because it's a play. It is a play event. You stick this card on the board. Play. You get this effect as soon as you put it onto the board, and you pick 2 allies. If you only have the 2 allies, they're now 4 bigger in health, much more different to do, and it's grant. Yeah, now start trying to get through things like, you know, let's put this, that is now a 6/10, a 5/9, a 4/9, a 3/9. That's real hard for people to get through, which is why, as we're all in on the hugs, we're running 3 of. And that's still not the end game, because the end game is this. We want something huge to come out that does amazing things, and it was this card, which we're only running 1 of, and this is the Bright Steel Formation. So when you play it, again, everything gets barrier. Everything. Every single unit you have on your side of the board, barriered up. And then, after that, each time you attack, all allies get barrier this round. We've got massive units, all barriered. You're probably going to get this in 1 out of every 3 games. If you're playing against Aesol, that's just won you the game. That puts you in a much better position than any other card in the deck. This is the Demacian. No one is going to stop this. Nothing is stopping this. Because you can't take all the barriers out in one go. Yeah, I mean, people can judgment. I don't care. We have huge health. You're not doing anything. So, that is my Rumul Hugs deck. That's a slightly longer donger deck discussion than we've got, but this is my ideas from patch 1.11. The deck code will be pinned in the comments right now. So let's clip that. And my name is Sith Holocron, as you can see from underneath. So all our social medias will also be with that deck code. Try it out. Tell me what you think. You can tell me on Twitter or Facebook or on our own Discord, for which there is a free invite in there too. There is a massive, huge event. We're doing the Donger Cup this weekend. I believe it's on Saturday. It's completely free to enter, and you win $50 or euros. It's one of the two. It might be euros because, you know, we're in Europe. Completely free to enter. 1 deck, single elimination. You win, you get rich. That's all available on our Discord. You can also join directly from Battlefield. Hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoy that deck. Until the next time, thanks for watching. Dongers out.